Right, hello everyone. I hope you're watching this video because you're keen to find out more about Duke of Edinburgh's award, the DofE, which we run at Herts and Essex. My name is Mr. Corner and I run the gold portion of the award, which we run for Year 12 during the enrichment slot on Wednesday afternoon. So during this video, I'm going to give you some information about how the award works, what's involved, and how you can get involved with it at Herts and Essex. Some of you might be familiar with DofE. You might have done bronze, you might have done silver at Herts and Essex before, at other schools. So apologies if some of the information I tell you is a bit redundant because you know it all already, but there will be some people here, I imagine, who are keen to get involved and be a direct entrant and just start with their gold. And that is obviously fantastic. So I'm going to go through all the information there is. So let's get cracking. So there are 5 sections of DofE. There's an extra one at gold compared to bronze or silver. So if you think there's only 4, there's a 5th one at gold. The first few sections you kind of do on your own or in a small group outside of school, but you've still got me in school to support you and give you advice on what you're doing. So the first one is volunteering. I'll go through all these in a lot more detail later. Basically, do some service to individuals or group in the local community where you live. A physical activity, basically you getting out, being active. Some sort of skill, where you develop any kind of skill that you could be working on in your own time. Okay. The final 4th one, which is common to bronze, silver, and gold, is the expedition, which is probably what the DofE is most famous for, where you see people in the countryside with those big rucksacks hiking about. And I'll explain how it works at gold level. And at gold, there's this 5th one, which is a residential section, where you go away from your house for a period of time. It's only a week, actually. And you are involved with people in a shared activity. So I'll go into that one in quite a bit more detail than the others, because that is the one that is unique and you will not have done before. So we're only going to focus on gold in this video because that's what we're running for Year 12. Now, if you have finished your silver award, you can finish gold within 12 months. Okay. If you haven't done silver, you'll have to do 18 months gold. You're considered a direct entrant. Okay. Now it doesn't. If you're doing silver but haven't finished it, your account on EDINBURGH'S will think you are a direct entrant, but once you do finish your silver, it will then convert to a indirect entrant. So first it will say you need 18 months, then when you finish your silver, it will say 12 months. Okay, so at gold level, now the volunteering has to be 12 months. There is no option on that. You have to do it for 12 months. Your physical and your skill, one of them is for 12, one of them is for 6. You can decide. And if you're a direct entrant, i.e. you've not done silver, you have to do something for 18 months. So you have to either do your volunteering for 18 or your physical or your skill for 18. So if you've done silver, you have to do 2 for 12, 1 for 6. If you haven't done silver, you have to do 1 for 18, 1 for 12, 1 for 6. And they're the sections you're kind of doing by yourself. And you will go out and do those once a week, upload your evidence on what's called EDINBURGH'S, which is online, and I will track and support you how you're doing. The expedition at gold level is a 4-day, 3-night expedition where you're outside, and I will talk about that. And the residential is you go away from your home, do a shared activity for 5 days, 4 nights. And I'll now go through each of those in a lot more detail. Now, pretty much anything can count towards DofE. Now, you're going to be doing these for basically 12 months, mostly. So you need to choose activities you're going to enjoy. Now, before you start anything, you need to check via the DofE website if it's counted as a registered activity. I hate people to get 6 months, even 12 months down the line, having done something that doesn't count. So please make sure you check with the DofE website or check with your leader, i.e. me, that things count. You could do something you're already doing, like if you're already playing like the drums, that's a great skill. If you already play for a football team once a week, that's a great physical, or you can pick up something new. Okay, Don't panic about finding stuff. Everyone will always find stuff. If you think, oh, I'm really not a physical person, I hate all sport, you will definitely find something to do. Okay, do not stress about anything. So let's look at volunteering. Now, volunteering is included in the DofE. Remember, this was set up by the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, back in the 50s, I think it was, and he came up with the strands and why we have these. So volunteering is included because we want our young people to make a difference to communities and individual life and develop some compassion. So that's why it's there. So lots of activities could come into this. Volunteering, the key point is you're helping something that's not for profit. If you're like just working for an organization that makes a profit, that won't count because you're kind of being used as slave labor. So you must make sure you're working with organizations that don't make profit. Charity shops are very common. Things like helping out at what you can see in the picture, like girl guiding or scouting movements. They are some of the most common ones, but you can volunteer at like animal shelters or working with people with special needs, like Grove Cottage is a very common one for Bishop Stortford. But there's so much there, okay? Going out and doing like litter picks and stuff weekly, anything can happen. So volunteering is there. So make sure you check the list and see what you could do, okay? Physical activity, basically anything that you can do to get active, raise your heartbeat, basically. We want people being active. That's why it's included. You can do individual sport. You could do it as part of a team sport, okay? Anything you're doing, okay? Now, so it could be team sports like football, hockey, rugby, lacrosse, anything like that. Individual sports, maybe some like, I don't know, canoeing, tennis, dance, water sports. I've already mentioned kayaking, I think. Racket sports, I'm getting ahead of myself. Fitness, so gym work counts, okay? Anything that is you getting active will count, okay? Skill, basically, is you just improving expertise in a certain area that you're interested in. Musical instruments are a big one that people often use, like drama, theatre, that kind of stuff. Driving is a very common one in year 12 because you'll all be 17. Just make sure you actually do drive for 6 months and you have to don't pass your test within 6 months because that would obviously great that you pass quickly, but it won't count to your DofE skill. So creative arts and performance arts we've discussed. Anything to do with like science and technology, like things you're doing outside your normal studies. Things like astronomy would be good. Care of animals, music I've mentioned. Media communication, like things like working for an online newspaper, which we do at school. Learning and collecting, like if you're teaching or having like, I don't know, extra different language lessons outside of school. Any of these things will count, okay? Now, these sections, the skill, the volunteering, and the physical, you should be doing for an hour a week. Obviously, we'll miss some at sometimes because you go on holiday, that these things happen, but it should be an activity you're doing for an hour a week, and they will be assessed by someone. So before you start an activity, you'll need to think, who is going to assess me here? Loads of things are obvious, like if it's a driving instructor, that's obvious. If you're having music lessons, it's your trombone teacher. Other things are kind of not as obvious, so make sure you've got someone who can assess you beforehand and talk to them in advance. Okay. Right, the expedition. Now, the expedition was included in DofE to inspire young people to develop initiatives, a sense of adventure, and discovery by planning, training for, and completing an adventurous journey as part of a team. Now, this is what we spend most of our time with on school. You're in a team of between 4 and 7 people, no more, no less. There is no sway on that. That is DofE rules. That's not school rules. Okay, and we do a walking expedition. Okay, now DofE says you can do it on foot, on horseback, by bike, by canoe, or by sailboat. Okay, the most common one is walking, and that's what we do at Herts and Essex. If you want to do it elsewhere, another way, so we can't find that at Herts and Essex. We have to do it by walking because it's the easiest thing for us to organise and keep the cost as low as possible. You have to do 2 expeditions of 4 days, 3 nights, a practice, and an assessed. Now, gold level, the assessor is someone external who you don't know, who comes from the local area where we go and we have to buy in, and he will externally assess you. It's not something to panic about. It's no sort of test. It's just to check that you're doing everything you should be doing. Now, most of our Wednesday afternoon sessions we spent on the expeditions, route planning, looking at how we just like learning mapcraft, learning what food we should take, learning what equipment we should take, learning how to do emergency scenarios and first aid, that sort of thing. Okay, so we do 2 expeditions, one around Easter time of year 12, where we will go up to Derbyshire in the Peak District, and our assessed expedition will be in June or July, which we go to the Yorkshire Dales, a place called Malham. Okay, here you can see on the screen some photos of people on expedition. Okay, this is Malham. Malham Cove is there in the background. If you can see, it's very famous, and that's where we go for our assessed expedition. And here are some examples of people on expedition. Great fun expeditions, and that is probably what your overarching memory will be of DofE in years to come. But yeah, they are tremendous fun. Obviously, you're going to be spending about 8 hours a day walking and camping for 3 nights. If that doesn't float your boat, that kind of thing, maybe this is not for you. But even if you've never done it before and you're keen to get involved, I'd love to have you. Okay. You have to carry all the equipment you need, so you're carrying all your food for those 4 days. Yeah, you're not allowed to buy anything as per DofE rules, and you are camping in the countryside. Now, it says wild country. That means basically our national parks, things like the Peak District, the Lake District, Snowdonia, Yorkshire Dales. You don't have to camp in wild country, but that is an option. You have to camp in the wild country, but that can be at a campsite. You don't have to camp like wild camp. But if you want to wild camp, I'm not going to stop you. Right, the residential. Now, this is what's new to gold level. Well, it's not new, but it's new from silver. It's always been there. So this was included to inspire participants for a concentrated involvement with who they don't know from different backgrounds and bring alternative views to the challenges they will face. So it's a minimum 5 days, 4 nights away from home. Now, this is kind of the thing that people find the hardest to sort out, but there is a lot of stuff out there and lots of approved activities. And in like September, October, when we start the program, we'll do a whole session on how you can do your residential section of your gold DofE. Okay, so here's some options. Now, these are not exhaustive. Assisting at like a summer camp, doing like conservation project. They're run by like things like National Trust run these, or like the British Canal Association. They do things like that. Doing some sort of photography course away, or any sort of course that you're learning something away, like language, photography. There is so much you could do to count for this. And all that matters is it's shared. The activity you're doing is shared by everyone. So everyone you're with is doing the same photography course, etc. You're all together during the day and the evenings, and it's at least 5 days, 4 nights. That will count. Okay, but we'll discuss this, and you can discuss it with me when we get to September or October. So at Herts and Essex, what you'll be expected to do. Key thing about DofE is commitment. Okay. It is a hard thing to achieve a gold DofE award. Like you can see, it takes at least a year, if not 18 months, and that's the shortest it could do. When I did mine, I started when I was in year 12, and I finished, I think, in my second year of university, so I was 20. So it took me about 3 years to finish, which is quite standard. We do get people who do finish them during sixth form, and that is a massive achievement to do it alongside your A levels. But yeah, it's a huge commitment to undertake. But on the flip side, gold level DofE is very, very well respected in by employers, by universities, and just general people. If you've said, I have achieved my gold DofE, that's like, wow, that's impressive. So we do our DofE training in Richmond every Wednesday in that period 5 slots, so you'll be expected to attend all of those. You'll be expected to arrange activities for each section for at least an hour a week. I can also give you advice about what to do. Now, you don't need to be doing everything at once. You don't need to be doing your skill, volunteering, and physical all at the same time. Thinking back to my own experience, when I was in sixth form, I only did my volunteering when I was in sixth form. I didn't start my skill or my physical until I got to university. So you don't have to do it all at once. It really is up to you. You have to upload evidence onto an online EDINBURGH account. Some of you will be familiar with this. It's really quite straightforward and quite self-explanatory. You're just logging what you're doing, and it's your way of communicating with me. Now, if you are coming from an external school, i.e. not Herts and Essex, and you are still working on your bronze or your silver, your account will get transferred over to me. We're working with you on gold, so your bronze and silver will be there as well. So don't panic if you haven't finished. I will help you finish anything you haven't finished already. Okay. 2 expeditions I've probably mentioned. We go to the Dark Peak area of the Peak District at the end of the 2nd term, just before Easter, and we do an assessment probably early June in Yorkshire Dales in Malham. Okay, so there is obviously a cost associated with DofE. The enrolment onto the award is approximately £36. That could change. Now, this gives you what's called a participation place, which we register with Herts County Council, and it gets you your gold award place on EDINBURGH, and that's what that's paying for. It's approximately £200 per expedition, so approximately £400 to cover the cost of that, plus some campsite fees, which are about £5, and any food, you're obviously bringing your own food because it's self-sufficient, and kit. Now, do not worry if you don't have an extensive supply of camping kit. You can hire lots from school. We have a big cupboard in school which is full of tents, rucksacks, and trangiers, which are stoves which you will cook on. You can hire them for £10 each, which are refundable if the kit comes back in good condition. So don't worry, you don't need your own tent, you don't need your own rucksack, you don't need your own stove. You just need to sort of have like waterproof clothes and some comfortable hiking boots. If you're struggling with any sort of kit, there is like help available. Okay. You don't need to have done DofE before. It helps you have some experience of walking and camping, but it doesn't matter if this is your sort of first time and you just want to give it a go. But if the thought of going camping in a tent for 3 nights and walking every day doesn't fill you with a sense of like joy and adventure, probably not for you. Gold Award is unique because once you finish, you get an invite to the palace. Now, often it's St James's Palace, but in recent years, they have been using Buckingham Palace more and more, and there's like a garden party in the summer, which you can see at the top right. That's some of our alumni going last May, so May 2019, to Buckingham Palace for a little garden party. Unfortunately, the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, has retired, as we all know. So Prince Edward, normally, who's the Queen's 4th child, normally does all the handing out of stuff. It's a great day. I remember mine. And it's really exciting to end that way. Cool. So if you've got any questions, feel free to look on the DofE website. That is a really great resource. Discuss with your parents the commitment about this. I believe there's going to be a way for you to get in contact with me if you have any questions about DofE or want to find anything out. I really can't wait to meet you all and see you all in September. I love the DofE. It's the best thing I ever did when I was at school. And I'm really excited that I get to help more people through DofE because it really helped me and benefited me as a person. So I really can't wait to meet a new cohort and get working with you. And yeah, basically, in September, there could be an application process as places might be in high demand. We can work with sort of up to 30 people. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, please get in touch. Have a great summer. Take care, and I look forward to meeting you in September. All the best.